Everybody, it's Trigger Bar Philosopher. Welcome back out to the channel. Today we're going to be continuing our series with 5.7 by 28 ammunition testing, and we're going to be looking at AAC, their 40 grain V-Max round. We've got our 3 guns to look at it and measure it with. This should be a good time. Stay tuned and let's get to shooting. All right, well, what are we talking about today? Today we're going to be talking about the Ruger LC Charger and 2 different PSA Rock pistols. One is the threaded barrel, length barrel, and one is the non-threaded barrel and has a 4.7 inch barrel. And we're going to see how this AAC ammunition with a V-Max, a Hornady V-Max projectile in it performs. AAC just got into the ammunition game. They're doing their own cases, or at least they've subcontracted with someone other than FN to produce their cases. It's kind of an interesting round when you take a look at it. It's got a black case instead of the more traditional brass casing. It's definitely have some kind of lube on it. So I think that's pretty interesting for us to take a look at. I have had some reliability issues in my PSA Rocks with this particular ammunition, which is ironic because AAC is owned by the same company as Palmetto State Armory. So I hope that we can see, is this ammunition safe for us to use in self-defense? Does it perform like we want to see it in ballistic gelatin? Are we getting the consistency in our velocity testing with our Garmin Zero? And how accurate is this ammunition? Well, no way to find out except for doing a lot of testing. So let's get to shooting. Okay, well, we've got our 40 grain V-Max from AAC, and we have our non-threaded barrel. It's a 4.7 inch barrel. For those of you who have the M&P 5.7, this should perform exactly the same. I have one, I just don't have one out at the range today. Let's take a look at the AAC 40 grain V-Max. Okay, well, this is pretty hard to see in this block, but we entered right here. We came along here. There's a pretty big star-shaped explosion. May have been some tumbling in that bullet, but a pretty good energy dump at around that 2 to 4 inch, 5 inch mark. The bullet continued to travel to just about 8 inches. Looks like it has some very good peeling. That V-Max bullet does seem to do very well in terms of like expansion out of the 5.7, but out of 8 inches, that's not great. All right, well, we've got this AAC V-Max. We're going to try to get into this gel. Threaded barrel from the PSA Rock. Let's see if we can get this in where we want it. All right, my apologies. You're going to have to deal with my shaky hands in all of this. But here's the deal. So we went in very close to the previous round. You can see that previous round right there. It's the one that's expanded, not the long bullets. It got to right here and it went, but the other one is right above it and it curves off and landed right there. You can see the wound track. It's curving. I don't like that curving. And comes back over to here. Very good expansion, very good wound tracks. Of course, you're seeing 2 of them right in there, so it's not that big. There's 2 overlaid, but a very nice projectile. A quick comparison between this V-Max and the Hornady V-Max are right here. Hornady V-Max, AAC V-Max. Of course, they're both Hornady bullets, but loaded differently. The impressive thing, though, with this is out of that, here's the bullet way back in there. I'm not sure if you can see it. Way back in there. But the impressive thing with this is that with this, we got to about 11.5 inches. That may not be impressive to you, but with 5.7, we struggle to get penetration because of this tumbling and other effects that we have. It's going pretty fast. Okay, well, we have this LC Charger. We'll see how it performs in the gel with the AAC V-Max 40 grain. Okay, you guys have to be saying like, Trigger Bro, this is freaking stupid. But there is something cool about this one with the LC carbine. So we entered down here into the block. You see my knife over on the edge of your screen. We come down, we have some great expansion. We lose the ballistic tip. We start losing some petals at 4 or 5 inches. We expand it really well at 2 inches. At 7 inches, we hit an elite ammunition S4. We lose more lead at that point, and it continues to grow, and we have some gnarly deformation down at 12 inches. So this probably would have gone to 13 or 14 inches. But that thing is all beat up and all gnarly. Let's just grab it out right now. Yeah, that thing got pretty smacked. It's lost a lot of its lead. It's very light. But again, that's because it hit a bullet here. But hey, that's pretty cool. That's a good test. It's not something we can totally verify again. But yeah, interesting. Okay, here we have the AAC V-Max rounds. We're getting somewhere around 0.4, something like that in terms of our expansion. I'll measure these later. And then over here, we are getting something like similar, but we still have the lead with it, and that was out of the threaded barrel. And then this is the one that hit the other S4 bullet out of our LC Charger. This was our threaded barrel, non-threaded barrel. Again, this non-threaded barrel is similar to what you're going to get with the 5.7 thread, or the M&P 5.7 threaded barrel. So very nice expansion, 0.4, somewhere around in that range. Looked very good and decent penetration with these bullets. So interesting, I mentioned that this had separation out of the non-threaded barrel and that I had pulled it apart, but that's not true. I actually found a big slug of it much further down into the block, probably about the 14-inch mark. So that separated. This got to like, what, 8? And then we had the rest of this bullet keep penetrating out to 14-inch mark. So not bad when you get some separation. Okay, well, we have our non-threaded barrel with the AAC 40 grain V-Max. 1671, 1689, 1668, 1643, and 1643 again. Although I don't think it caught that because we have to set a range and that's slightly below our range, so we only caught 4 shots, but let's just still take a look and see what we got with that. So for our session summary, we had a min of 1643, a max of 1689, and an average of 1667, extreme spread of 46, and an average kinetic energy of 247. Okay, well, we have this AAC 40 grain V-Max ammunition. Let's see how it performs out of the threaded barrel for the PSA Rock. 1760, and we had a malfunction. Failure to load. 1761, 1778, 1742, 1703, and 1703.5. So let's take a look at our session summary. We had a min of 1703, a max of 1778. That's a 74 extreme spread. That's huge. 1749.3 is our average, and our average kinetic energy was 271. Okay, well, we have the AAC V-Max 40 grain projectile out of this 10.5-inch LC carbine. Okay, well, let's see what we get with this. Yep, there we go. 1996. 2027, 2088, 2014, 2045, and looks like it did not catch that one, but that's the end of it. Hey, yeah, we're seeing this thing jump all over around on this thing. I think it is the ammo, because we didn't have problems with the other ammunition we've been testing. So for our session summary, we had a min of 1996, a max of 2088, so that's an extreme spread of 91. That's huge. That's terrible. We had an average of 2034, an average kinetic energy of 367.6. Okay, well, we have the target downrange at about 15 yards, we have some of this AAC 40 grain V-Max. We're going to see how it does with accuracy at 15 yards out of these 3 firearms. Well, we lost the first one, but it did pretty good after that. Okay, now we have the threaded barrel version, and we're going to have this AAC 40 grain V-Max. We'll see how this does for accuracy. All right, not bad there, not bad. All right, well, let's see how this performs in the LC Charger. Again, we're only at 15 yards. I do have some tests with this with AAC ammunition at 100 yards. You can go back and look those up, and I'll try to leave a link for it, but let's see how we do at 15 yards. And we had a malfunction. LC Charger doesn't like that one. Does pretty well with our accuracy with it, though, you have to admit. All right, well, let's figure out what's going on with all of this. Okay, well, let's wrap things up with our 5.7 by 28 testing of some AAC ammunition with the 40 grain V-Max projectile in it. We shot today with our 3 different guns, the 2 different barrel lengths from the PSA Rock, and a little bit longer barrel length from the Ruger LC Charger, and we had some reliability issues with it. It seemed to perform okay in gel. When we looked at it ballistically, the extreme spreads were sometimes up to 100 feet per second. That's a lot. That's a big variation with this ammunition. I've also had reliability issues with the Rock, with the Ruger LC Charger. I'm just thinking that this just isn't something that's going to work out for me and for my guns. That could be something that's different for you and your guns. Again, I'm not selling, I'm not advocating. I'm just telling you what I am doing for me. And I hope that that's helpful. I was impressed with the projectile and how it performed in gel. And so I think this projectile is really a good one. I think that Hornady does it better in more consistent loadings than AAC has been able to do. I also think the brass case is just a little bit better with the Hornady projectiles than this whatever black thing, and it's got real sticky type lube on it. And I'm wondering if that's mucking up the Ruger LC Charger. So let me know what you guys think. What are your takeaways? If you have a round that you prefer for home defense and self-defense with the 5.7 by 28, please put it in the comments below. Let me know if there's some other rounds you want me to test. Put that down below too. I hope everyone has a great week. Let's get to shooting. And won't work unless you have ammunition in it. I don't know why. I don't know why ammo doesn't work or a gun doesn't work without ammunition. I mean, this thing sucks.